Free speech activist Lindsay has been permanently banned from Twitter because she disparaged a trans person after being disparaged. So let me just not bury the lead. The story here is that Lindsay was being harassed by a trans person, so she harassed back and got banned for it. The reason I did the air quotes for those that are watching is because it was just bickering online. It's what we hear, we see all the time. Someone insults someone, they insult them back. Well, Twitter has created a special protected class that you can't insult. And thus many people, even as a joke, have now claimed they have special pronouns so they can get people banned. And apparently it's worked in the past. Like some trolls claimed they had special pronouns. And when left-wing social justice activists refused to use them because they knew it was like a ruse, they got banned for it. But let's not bury the story. Let's see exactly what happened with Lindsay getting banned from Twitter. The Post-Millennial writes, a source has confirmed the ban is permanent. One of Canada's most outspoken free speech advocates, Lindsay has been permanently suspended from Twitter. The suspension comes after a jousting match with a notorious trans woman named JY, who has been accused of predatory behavior towards children and making frivolous human rights complaints. The Post-Millennial reached out to Shepard, who said, I got suspended for 2 tweets. Although they didn't tell me exactly which tweets were the problem, so I'm giving my best guess. Last night, JY tweeted that I have a loose private area from pushing a 10-pound baby out, but he still has a tight private area. In reality, they say that JY still has male genitals according to the proceedings of a current human rights tribunals he's been testifying in. And in reality, she says, I had a C-section and a 6-pound, 10-ounce baby. That is a quote that is not from me, just so you know. Like it matters. They'll claim quotes from other people are from me because that's how the game is played. She says, I replied that this is something a man who has no functional romantic relationships with a woman would say, but that I guess that describes him pretty well. Then Yaniv mocked a reproductive abnormality I have. And so I replied saying something I'm not going to read because, she disparaged him in a way that I'm not going to get in trouble for reading her quotes, but you're not allowed to do news on YouTube the way anyone else is. Just keep that in mind. So basically, she then disparaged him in a way that misgendered this individual. I have no idea what's going on at this point, so you know what? I don't even care. She says, I deleted the comments I made this morning, but found out was suspended in the afternoon. Shepard is also a columnist for the Post-Millennial. Told us she is concerned about her inability to respond to mistruths now that she is banned from the platform. While I am most concerned about the lies that can now be spread that I cannot counteract via Twitter, for instance. I saw an account tweeted that I have sock puppet accounts. No, I do not have any accounts other than New World Hominin. But I can't correct that misinformation anymore. They go on to say that Shepard first came to public's attention during the Wilfrid Laurier controversy in which she sued. They say that Shepard saga continued with a $3.6 million lawsuit against Laurier. The 2 professors who originally falsely accused and bullied Shepard have launched a countersuit. More recently, Shepard testified in front of Parliament's Justice Committee, claiming that individuals who shouldn't be caught up in online hate legislation will inevitably get caught up in it. So I'm not sure if it matters all that much, that she got banned because, while I'm not trying to diminish who she is and what she does, it's just another day, another banning. Guess who wasn't banned, though? Who wasn't banned is Sean King, who put out a tweet 2 weeks ago calling for overt acts of terrorism, and then later came to praise an individual who committed an act of terrorism that he encouraged. Twitter did nothing, for the most part. What we know now is that there's an update on this story, so I'm tying these together, trust me. We know now that Sean King quietly deleted those tweets praising the terrorist. I don't know why they don't call him a terrorist even at the Daily Wire, but he was. Here's the thing. It's possible Twitter made him do it, right? So it's possible someone flagged the tweets and then Sean King was forced to delete them like they did with, Farrakhan and everybody else. But I want to say something. Why is it that Lindsay can call someone an ugly fat man and get banned permanently? But you can have Sean King literally endorse terrorism and tell people to commit those acts and he gets a slap on the wrist. Are you nuts? It is mind-blowing. You know what, man? There's very little that I think should be removed, but incitement to violence and overt praise of terroristic acts and calls to arms are probably something that should be removed. Pretty sure it's illegal. So why is it that an insult that is completely legal gets you banned, but an illegal act is fine? And this is what I said to the Twitter people when I was on the podcast with Joe Rogan, to repeatedly cite the same thing. I said, look, it's grains of sand in a heap. You'll ban Milo and say, oh, but he was directing his followers when he wasn't. But then you'll have someone praise and endorse and call for terror, and you'll go, slap on the wrist. Don't worry about it. You get 3 strikes and you're out. Sean King committed a crime as far as I'm concerned, in my opinion. I don't know if he... Look, okay, let me walk that back. I don't know. I think what he did is bordering on criminal because he was inciting people to commit violence against federal authorities. You'll get a lot of people saying, oh, it's just freedom of speech. And that's an interesting point. Like, you have a right to say that you support certain things, but he said, we need to do things by any means necessary. He said that. And then someone did. Like, at what point are you going to be like, that was your fault? Okay, let's read a little bit of this story. Daily Wire writes that on Monday, Black Lives Matter leader Sean King praised a self-identified far-left Antifa member who tried to attack an immigration detention center in Tacoma. Over the weekend, King lionized the armed attacker, whom the Daily Wire will not name. Sean King called him the first martyr. But there's a more important point that I want to bring up. So I get it. If you saw the story, I covered this in the morning. Sean King has not deleted them. Let's get to the news. They say that this was posted by King in his first but now deleted tweet, saying that this guy's hero was John Brown, etc. They go on to say that he also noted the man wasn't crazy, but in action is, seemingly suggesting that others attack detention centers too. But this tweet was also deleted. In the activist's final tweet, which was also soon deleted, King said that this is where this man was murdered, etc., and that these camps need to be shut down. So praising and calling for more. So the tweets were deleted. I believe he may have been forced to by Twitter, but I want to stress one thing. These were 2 threads that each had, I believe, 3 tweets in them. That's 6 strikes. 6 strikes. But Twitter probably gave a special pass to Sean King for whatever reason, and they're not biased, they claim. There's no evidence. But here's the important context I want to get to with comparing this to Lindsay Shepard getting banned. Not only did he call for overt acts of terror, but in the past, he had asked his followers to send him private information on an individual. Now, Twitter claims apparently that calling on your fans to collect or release public information doesn't violate their doxing rule unless you do it. So you can tell someone to break the rules for you, and then when they do, they get in trouble and not you. That's absurd. You know why? Because then what you do with your 1 million followers is tell 1 million people to dox somebody. Someone with a brand new sock puppet 1 follower account posts it, and then you retweet it. Congratulations, you bypassed Twitter's rules. So let's read. They say, according to a report from the New York Times, a statement from authorities said the attacker was armed with a rifle. We get that stuff. They go on to say, King has a habit of firing off unsavory or patently false tweets on his massive Twitter platform and then later deleting them. In April, the noted race hustler wrongly connected a white man to the tragic murder of 7-year-old Jasmine Barnes, who was black. King claimed racial malice, of course, and the family of the man King wrongly connected to the killing was immediately flooded with threats. The Daily Wire reported at the time, quote, in a now deleted post, King asked his followers, what more can you tell me about Robert Cantrell? We've had 20 people call or email us and tell us he is a racist, violent a-hole, and has always been. Just tell me everything you know. This is allowed on Twitter. This guy had nothing to do with it. King falsely labeled him, and this is targeted harassment. He has smeared him, he insulted him, and directed his nearly 1 million followers to harass this guy. Why hasn't he been banned? This is why Twitter is such a trash platform. It's complete garbage. I don't think Jack Dorsey has anything to do with Twitter at all at this point. I think he's a figurehead and he does nothing. I don't know who's running the show, but they are being protected. They are being kept out of the press, and Jack is absorbing all of this. And this means Jack is providing cover, whether intentionally or not, to those who are allowing Sean King to harass individuals and call for terror. When will it stop? When will there be a federal investigation? And I'm not talking about antitrust or whatever. I'm talking about Sean King calling for terrorism. I'm talking about Antifa being allowed to exist on the platform, and then Lindsay Shepard being banned for calling someone an ugly fat man. Oh, that's what she did. That's what she said. She said to someone, you're an ugly fat man. But she got permanently banned because of it. Twitter is such complete garbage. Complete garbage. The Daily Wire notes, the man arrested for the killing, in reference to the Robert Cantrell story, was a 20-year-old black male, as noted by CNN. But of course, Sean King has repeatedly done this. smeared innocent individuals, falsely accused people, and then called for terror, and he is allowed to keep doing his thing. So when they ask you, what evidence say you that Twitter is biased against conservatives? Well, it's not so much conservatives. Lindsay Shepherd isn't a conservative, I don't think. It's an ideological bias. Support our narrative or else. Sean King. My God. I'm just going to leave it there. I'm done. I got a couple more stories coming up for you in a few minutes, and I will see you shortly.